Good afternoon. Welcome to our informational meeting. First item on the agenda is City Council staff report by Deborah Owens, City Clerk, Chief of Council Operations.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Sioux Falls City Council. Just a note of congratulations. As you know, the council has been very supportive of our continuing ed with the City Council staff. And this last weekend, amidst being great at 2 elections, Tamara also passed her parliamentarian course, the 98%. So congratulations, Tamara. Her and Jamie have both passed that initial course. It's offered through a university system, and then the test is proctored at Southeast Tech. So it's very official. It's recognized by the National Association of Parliamentarians, and they're on to continue on to become a registered parliamentarian. And then, just to give you an update on the digital imaging system, as you know, the city has been working collectively and meeting about a digital imaging system for 2 full days, week before last. And there were 4 presentations that were given, and then all of us are scoring those presentations. We'll be giving that information to IT, and IT did a great job of coordinating that for everybody. How that kind of then also, so you know, we're working on, well, there were two that were really excellent in the clerk's office opinion in terms of what we do and our scope of our needs. And that was, of course, Laserfish and then Sire. Sire is also a great program. And so they both integrate with Granicus very well. Sire does have an option of using a web streaming program within their software and then having that voting system too. And of course, we've always kept in mind or had the idea of collectively as a council to have a voting system in place sometime in 2011. So this may open the door to a different software package, and we'll work together with IT on that. And we met this morning. And so there's the possibility, if the city chooses to use Sire or whichever one, we may change out some of our needs to have one system for the city, depending on how that scoring goes with all of the departments. And so that kind of affects our budget, obviously, for 2011 and where we need to spend our money, where we need to allocate those funds. At this point in time, we're nearing the end of that budget and ready to present it to you very soon. Although some of it just depends on these discussions with IT and the way we'll continue on, and whether we look at the Granicus voting system or perhaps the other option with Sire. And just don't have that information locked ready for all of you, as all the departments, including ours, are still submitting some of those forms, and then we'll have those discussions. But we are looking at the options, so I can at least present to you some options in terms of costs or cost savings, and I'm very excited about those 2 things. The budget, as we're working through it internally, is fairly similar, of course, to last year. That tends to be how our budget looks. There will be a difference if we do stay with Granicus. Media services is often picked up about 2/3 of our annual maintenance contract. We store all of our videos, all of our council meeting videos, online, off-site with Granicus. And so there's additional cost of about $14,000 we need to roll into our budget. It was already budgeted on the administration side. If we stay with Granicus, we need to roll that in, but it's not necessarily new money in terms of the city's budget overall. It's just changing it into one department. So that's about the only major change at this point in time, other than working through those digital imaging systems and the options that are available. Yes, sir.
Did I hear you right, Deborah? Did you say that we would be giving money back to the administration from the council budget? Is that correct?
No, we're going to, we'll actually, media services will give us their portion of the Granicus expense.
I see.
And so we'll be adding that to our budget.
Thank you.
Let's see, and then so, as you know, as we proceed, and we're nearing the end again with this digital imaging system, and Kenny Anderson Jr. has been very active with all of those meetings. They were very long. They were really literally 2 full days of sitting and watching demonstrations, and very helpful for all of us to see how that software works. So when we wrap that up, we'll kind of get our numbers ready for you. For the most part, it is done though. And then I think I lost my mic. I did.
Speaking of Granicus.
Hello. All right, my mic is off. I'll try to talk louder for your sake. Councilmember Litz has the monitor. We've ordered monitors some time ago. As it turns out, we cannot return those. And so IT worked with the monitor that we have now and are looking at seeing if that works for you. And so if you want to take a look at Litz's monitor today, it drops, what that stand does, it kind of lowers it so you can still see across it. It's a much larger screen. And so I think it works pretty well, but I think leadership wanted to talk. Oh, and the new council members elect. Thank you. You might want to take a look at that too and see if that meets your needs. We can't return them, but we can. We have kind of altered them so they'll fully work for our purposes. Okay.
Deborah,
Am I up?
does that mic work?
Oh, let me. Is this still working?
You could,
No?
we're working on it right now. Sorry.
Should I ask, are we web streaming still or? No.
We haven't been web streaming the whole time, but they're working on it. But we'll be all right.
One, two, three. Mic check. One, two. One.
Check.
System failure.
Must be the whole system's down. Okay. I'll try to.
Can you hear this?
There'll be no fiscal committee meeting following the informational today. Councilmember Benica could not be with us, and there were no items on that agenda, so that was canceled. For the city council meeting at 7 o'clock, hopefully we're running up by then, technology-wise. Please notice your consent agenda. There are a number of abatements there. They've all come through the Board of Equalization, but you're going to want to take a look at those and be aware of those. And then to reminder, there's nothing contested on any of those abatements, but for all consent agenda items, you always can request to pull one from the consent agenda without a vote and put it on the regular agenda. So just a reminder, if you want to discuss that further, if you have any more questions, those items can always be just requested when you adopt the consent agenda. Request to move item 1 to the regular agenda is how that's done for informality reasons. And then we had some questions about this role of this transition to a new mayor. And one moment. Councilmember Anderson Jr. had wanted me to just to share with you a little bit of those provisions in charter, so I copied that for you. There's really only 2 sections that are pertinent in 4.01A, and there'll be a copy for you folks as well. One is the reorganization of departments. You can see that I bolded that portion. However, that's not a part of this dialogue. I just wanted you to have that for reference for those of you who weren't aware of that. The final sentence, though, that's highlighted talks about those appointments of the mayor that require advice and consent of the council. And that's all departments essentially but 2, community development and central services. All of the other city departments require advice and consent of the council before they are officially appointed. And you have that list before you. So that would include Director of Finance, Police Chief, Director of Parks and Recreation, Director of Human Resources, Director of Siouxland Libraries, City Attorney, Director of Planning and Building Services, Director of Public Works, Fire Chief, and the Director of Public Health, or we often call that Health and Human Services. Any questions on that? Thank you, Dee. None? Okay, I'm done.
Any other questions for Deborah? All right, we'll just move on. Under Mayor Munson, anybody want to speak on behalf of the mayor's office? No? Okay. Audit Committee?
No report.
Fiscal Committee meeting, as Deborah had said, is canceled for today. Land Use Committee?
No report.
Public Service Committee?
No report.
And any City Council open discussion? Councilor Knudsen.
I didn't want to disappoint any of you. I just wanted to publicly thank Novak Sanitary Services and for the fabulous job they did again with the 4th annual Whittier Cleanup Day on April 24th. I mean, their contribution, I can't imagine the dollar amount to just run their trucks all day long and collect that much garbage and recyclables. It's just fabulous of them. And also, of course, I'd like to publicly thank Johnstone Supply for making that great site available again. We had a wonderful turnout that day. Unfortunately, the lines were longer than I prefer and anyone else preferred too, I'm sure, but there was one, you can't really call it a glitch, but this year, because of the amount of snow, we weren't able to drop off leaves and tree branches at the site we had used before because it was too muddy there. So in other words, all of that came to us too. So sometimes, wow, the lines were long, and I'd go back and visit with people most of the afternoon, but people just stayed really patient. I mean, they probably taught me something in patience. I'm not that patient of a person. But anyway, I'd just like to, again, publicly thank those two businesses. And then during that cleanup, the Russ Sorensen from our planning department had a brochure here, and I'll pass down a few to you guys here in a second if you don't already have one, A Brush with Kindness. But it's a painting project, and it's A Brush with Kindness is a program of Habitat for Humanity of Greater Sioux Falls that helps low-income homeowners by offering exterior home improvements. And anyway, there are these volunteer teams that are going to paint homes and so forth. And there's an income, level that you need to meet to get your house painted by these volunteers. But if anyone out there has any interest in getting some information on this program, that number is 339-6406. And if you miss that number, again, it's the Habitat for Humanity office. But then Russ Sorensen reminded me that if, in fact, a person is really interested and needs some help on getting their house, the exterior of their house painted, and they don't meet these qualifications, that Norberg Paints is also working on a great project to a discounted paint and so forth this summer to help people get their houses spruced up. So wanted to say that. And then the only other thing I wanted to say, and all of you counselors and new counselors already have this information, but I just think that sounds like a very good summer bus program that our own public transit system is running this summer. I like the name of it, Dog Days of Summer Bus Program for high school and middle school age kids. And so then when they sign up for the program, they get this SAM dog tag, and they can ride. They will receive unlimited rides for the whole summer for 3 months for just $25, and people can get these discount. I need to slow down. As a bonus to this program, several businesses have agreed to provide discounts to the students if they show up with their dog tag at the time of the purchase. And those businesses include the 24/7 Fitness Club, Bagel Boy, Taco John's, Juice Stop, and Thunder Road. And all of this information is on the website also. But anyway, I just really like the sound of that program for our students.
Any questions for Councilor Knudsen? Councilor Litz? Did you
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to give a word of recognition to, am I coming over there? No? Really? Okay. But I'll just speak loud. We had a graduation party at my house this weekend, so I'm used to it. But I wanted to give a word of praise and recognition to the city clerk staff. Not only for 2 weeks did they put up with our usual business and the city's usual business, but they also pulled off the election part 2 without a hitch that I'm aware of, and it is an incredible amount of work. The county's not involved, the school board's not involved. The onus was on these ladies, and they did a very good job. And I think all too often we just take that for granted, what they were doing down here. Most of us have no idea the hours or the amount of work that they put into that. But I just wanted to thank the city clerk's staff on behalf of all of us councilors, I would imagine. So thank you, lady.
If I could also just pass on we had really proud of your staff as well. We worked hard for over a year preparing for this, but also the election workers we had a number of new folks who worked with us, at least 60 brand new people who worked the polling places, and they did an excellent job. The reason why those returns came around so fast on April 27th was because those folks really just got everything balanced and ready and proper, and got them into the county admin building. So thanks to all of those workers. There's over 250 of them who we hired on the 27th, and jointly we hired through the school district, give or take 30. We always have some changing of the guard there, but just a phenomenal job on their part too. So thank you to all of those too out there.
Councilor Jameson?
Just a kind of a heads up for the transition that's occurring here. I've got a new policy that I've been working on, with Dave Munson and his staff regarding wildlife management within the city. A lot to do with the geese that are populating our city, and as well as some of the deer that have found our city as home. But I wanted to just kind of bring you guys up who are staying, that more conversations going to come, and the new council members that we're going to have another discussion to occur. But as you may have heard over the years, like when Colville Lake, when we stopped feeding geese within the city, there was a lot of controversy and a lot of opinions. And this may not be an easy subject for us to cover, but my effort and my intent is just to increase, provide a safer environment, especially for the airport to operate. So there'll be a lot of different entities getting involved in developing this plan, but Rapid City has one in force, and it's really extensive, and it just maps out every procedure that's necessary to manage any wildlife within the city. So just look for that to be coming forward, and maybe as we develop our committee structure, maybe we'll assign that to some committee, but just kind of a heads up. And I've got a call into Mayor-elect Mike Huther to bring him on board and make sure he's aware of what we're working on as well. But just kind of a transitional, weird, funny thing maybe in the middle of all of this that two different administrations are going to be a part of. So.
Councilor Anderson?
I just want to say, as we start all these festivals that we have, and with the nice weather that we're having, I wanted to congratulate the people who put on and attended the Cinco de Mayo over Saturday. It looks like their numbers are going to beat last year, and it was just an amazing event out there, and it's just so great that Sioux Falls is so willing to show all of our diversity.
Thanks, Steve. Any other open discussions with City Council before we go into our presentations? Seeing none, Gene, I think you're up. Monthly financial report by Gene Lowenhorst, Director of Finance. Comes bringing good news.
Well, I'm bringing good news, and the other part of it is it's kind of dull, and that's the way I like to have it be. It's quiet. To look at the financial statements themselves, the only thing in there that really jumps out is about a third of the way down on page number 1 in the actual revenue column. You'll see there bank franchise tax, and we had $985,000 in the budget, and $1,934,000 came through. This was a situation again where we were told that it's a one-time event, it's not going to happen again, and I think this is about the 4th or 5th time that it's happened. So that, it'd be nice to put that $1 million in the budget, but I don't know if we want to take that chance or not. So for next year, but at any rate, that helps a lot. Other than that, it's pretty normal. We're not we're getting good bids on the contracts as they're coming in, so that's helpful. So it's really things are going pretty well. The thing we probably want to talk about a little bit, I'm not sure I want to talk about it, see if anybody wants to, with the sales tax for March, which is what's in your financial statements. We were at 2.3% on the second penny tax, well, first and second penny sales tax. That was down still from last year. It pulled us down quite a ways. Then we got the April report, and that number now year to date is up at 6.2%. Quite a spike again. I can't explain why this thing spikes around. We can't seem to find that out. But at any rate, it's good news, and we're hoping that it continues at something along those levels. If we can really establish a trend here in the next couple of months, that would allow us to let loose of some of the holdbacks and that we've got. So it's a good news situation, but we got to wait and see what's going to happen. So, if there's any questions?
Gene, the bank franchise tax that's coming in so well, I assume that we could still anticipate getting more in the rest of the rest of the year?
I don't think so. This is all we get. This is a one-time deal.
That's a one-time thing?
Yep.
Councilor Knudsen?
Not a question, and I'm probably a little late saying this, the people in the audience, I think, are having trouble hearing us right now, so maybe we could just speak up just a little bit more, please, for them.
Any other questions or comments for Gene? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other open discussion before we adjourn for the council list?
I just wanted to make my usual pitch. My quarterly magazine, Fed Gazette, is in. It's packed full of good information, and I hope all you counselors take the time to read parts of this here. I never thought that I would find something like this interesting, but it's very good on predicting economic trends, and it tells a little bit about the history of the economy in the United States. So I'm hoping you'll take that home, and it'll put you to sleep quite well.
Anybody else have any comments before we? Councilor Anderson?
Last Saturday, I attended my first Storm football game. And as they were announcing the team, the last person they announced did not have a title, but they just announced him as Bob Litz. So I was going to ask you, what actually do you do with the team?
Well, I've been involved with minor league football since 1997, and normally I was down coaching down in Sioux City for a little bit, helping out with special teams. I came back up here, and I've been associated with the defensive line. But this year here, due to my shoulder surgery, we did the preliminary things, but the recovery took too much out of me. So, like you, I found myself in the stands this year. As a matter of fact, Mr. Costello was sitting in my favorite seat last Saturday. And we won the game, but I got a comment. I'm not certain the Storm deserved to do that.
Well, I thought it was a wonderful thing that they were doing the fundraising out there with one of our local businesses. I thought that cancer awareness is something that really needs to be promoted and was well done that night.
Yes, it's not very often you see football players with pink spats on, but Saturday night was an exception. So.
And a win's a win, so.
Win's a win, that's right. At the end of it, that's the statistic that matters. So.
Any other open discussion before we adjourn? Seeing none, we are adjourned.